Hello, this is Maia Smith with Freedom Living Realty, and today, as my guest, I have Mark Allen, and he is with Edge Home Finance. Today, we're going to discuss the financial news in the mortgage industry and housing industry for this last fourth quarter. And there is lots of to unpack here, and I'm glad Mark will talk to us and update us.
Yeah, first off, Maya, thanks for letting me speak a little bit. Everyone says we're experts, but it's like no crystal ball, right? You never know what is going to be out there and what's going to happen. We don't know that. We've obviously don't know that for 2 years. It's been crazy, up, down, up, down, up, down. I will say that it's likely that they will do a small cut this week. After the election, actually, they're probably going to do a 25 basis point cut, and probably one in December too. So for like a total of 50. However, if anybody's been paying attention, when they cut it back, a month ago, the rates actually went up afterwards. So they didn't necessarily go down.
Can you please explain this? Because I am in a real estate market and
Yeah.
I follow the stock market and financial market, and this is just so not, I'm not clicking. How does it happen?
So we were all prepared. Most lenders were pricing it in beforehand. So I kept telling my clients, like, hey, there's going to be a rate cut, whether it's 25 or 50, whatever. They're already pricing the numbers in. So, like 2 to 3 weeks before that, lenders saw it coming. So, if they could see something coming, they already priced it in. So, I was telling people, like, hey, it's as low as it's going to be right now. It might just be even for a while after they hit the cut, but it's not just going to go boom. Like, I had so many realtors call me and be like, hey, how are the rates? And I'm like, well, they're either the same or getting worse. And they're like, how's that possible? And I'm like, because they don't, it's everything, right? Credit cards, the stock market, everything kind of goes into that. It's not just mortgages. So it takes time and it will come down, fingers crossed. But when people saw that, they were like, I had a client be like, can I wait till Friday after the Fed cut? And I'm like, you can. And there's no guarantee it's going to go lower. I mean, like, just like anything, if you can do it, this is what I tell my clients all the time. If you're pre-approved, I've done all my work for you, you're all ready to go, and you can handle it, do it, right? I'm going to get you the best rate I possibly can, the lowest to no fees. Like that's as a broker, that's my MO. Like I want to find the best rate for them. I want to find the best solution for them. There's no BS is like what I like to say. It's all pretty standard. But I just had people, I said, probably should lock it in. You probably should get it done. I don't force people to do that, but I try to give them as best, that I can because you don't really know what's going to happen. But for example, since then, like the rates, the jobs report came out last week and great news, but the rates went up. So, it's like there's the correlation is it's like a game, right? I hate to say that, but it's so hard for us too. We watch it every day. I have a group of friends and I that we watch it every day and talk to each other and hey, what's it looking like this week? Where are we at? So the election is obviously super important, but I wouldn't expect to see something massive happen one way or the other. Because if we knew that, the like I said, the lenders would price that in. They already know that there's probably going to be a rate cut this week. There's going to be one in December is the goal. Those rates are going to slowly come down. I wouldn't say you're going to see like a 5% conventional rate like on average anytime soon, but in the new year and then beyond, we're looking at, definitely better news. And again, knock on wood, can we predict that? No, you never know what's going to happen, but that's been kind of how it is, like it's a guessing game. It really is. Like you can look at numbers all you want, but if when it comes to buying a house, if you can do it and you want to do it, do it. Inventories obviously, as you know, isn't super high, but it's getting there and it's still competitive. And you know, if the rates do drop, and we've said it for 2 years, if they do actually come down, for a fact in your business, you're going to be fighting with other people trying to get that house. You're going to be fighting with them, right? You're going to be trying to make different offers, different things like that. So having a whole and just ready to go and making a good offer and being ahead of the game is huge because you're not going to really see a humongous dip in your mortgage payment from say a 6.5 to a 6. Yeah, it's a good number, but is it enough for you to wait and then say, oh, that house I liked is now more expensive or it's going to cost me
Yes.
more and stuff like that? It's really, it's just like if you can do it, right?
Yes, I agree with you. Let's talk a little bit about. You mentioned the locks again, locks the rate if you can. So what I seen when my client work with the lenders, and it's kind of. I am a realtor. I'm not a lender, so I can't really play their game. But when I hear stuff, I always wonder if I can work with you and do this better for my client. So this is my question to you. How can I, how the client can look rate now, and then let's say the approval process and the underwriting and everything takes 1 month. If it's VA, maybe 45 days. And then they arrived to the closing table and maybe rates dropped and they are
That's
locked in a higher. So what's going to be solution here?
That's a hard one because, a lot of people don't allow that, right? Like when you lock a rate, there's floating, so there's floating versus locked. The good news for us is we have multiple lenders. It's possible that we, float a rate here, check some other rates there. It's not that it's frowned upon, but like, if you lock a rate with someone and then you pull it out and then try to go somewhere else, there's
No,
some wiggle
no,
room
that's
there, but
risky. No, I'm not suggesting that, but will your suggestion will be do not lock the rate maybe week prior when
I
everything.
see. Yes. So the only that can happen. You could still order appraisal. You could still do all that stuff up to that point. Um, when you lock though, then you have the disclosures. Then you have. I always tell people if nothing looks like anything crazy is going to happen, right? If somebody locks tomorrow, right, on election day, okay, great. It might be okay. It might not be great. And then as they get towards the closing table, could they change it? It's not that part, no, but like floating it until then, I would just say it gets a little risky with like probably 2 weeks or so is something just because you have to go through underwriting, you still have to do all the numbers. Most of the initial approval can happen, but then to get that thing locked and really try to do it, I would say I wouldn't wait too much past that because there's things that can happen. It's just kind of an iffy move. It doesn't mean you can't. A lot of people lock and then do the appraisal. Some people don't lock and then do the appraisal, and that's kind of a numbers game. But there's a lot of wiggle room in there, but just like, it's a balancing act. You just don't know, if you could get a decent rate and it's like, you're like, hey, this is a pretty good offer, like it's pretty good, I would do it. Because you just don't know. It's so volatile that you could think like, oh, hey, in a month from now it's going to be better. I
No,
mean,
yeah,
people thought that a month ago, right? Like, hey, Fed cut, it's going to get better. It's actually gotten worse. So people that didn't lock their rate are sad because the rates and the cost and everything is higher. And it's just like,
yeah.
you can't, we can, but I don't say like lock the rate, lock the rate. I say like, here's your options, right? Because ultimately it's the client's choice. It's not our choice. We can give them as much, information as we can, but they have to be able to say like, yeah, some people like to gamble. Believe me, I've had clients. They love to gamble. I said, that's fine. That's your choice. But don't yell at me if it's worse, right? Like that's not, I'm sorry, but that's the reality. So
Okay, so another question will be, you mentioned that you work with lots of different
mhm,
lenders. So are you actually a mortgage broker who shops around with all the lenders and then gets the best suitable product? Can you explain exactly what your company does?
100%. So we are, I think, the number two independent mortgage broker in the country. We're actually based out of Minnesota. We have a loan officer in pretty much every state. We're licensed in 47 states. We should be at 50, I hope. They say by the first of the year, which means I can technically help people in every state because even though I'm not licensed there, we have teams that do. So I can basically still be the boss. I just can't like legally lock it. So we have like a whole process that I can help. I have friends in other states that I'm not licensed in that I've had call me about it and I can help them. I am licensed in Colorado and North Carolina, but
And on
yep, go
North
ahead.
or South? Are you licensed North Carolina, South Carolina, or
Not
North
South Carolina yet. You
Carolina?
need a certain amount of years of experience. Plus, they have like a distance requirement rule, which I mean, we're close enough, but there's a couple rules for that soon for me. But the good news is I have a couple partners that are already licensed there and we already work together. That's why I try to tell people all the time when I post things, hey, I can help you in every state. And just because I'm not physically there doesn't mean I can't do what we're doing right now or have a phone call or just really like take care of my clients. Because anyone that's been on, worked with me in the past, like, my Google reviews show it. Like I really care about what I do. I was a former teacher. I was a
Yeah.
15-year high school teacher. So like relationships are important to me. But as a broker, sometimes you get a bad name. I've had to like explain it to listing agents before, like, hey, I got your pre-approval, but you're a broker, you're not local, like in Colorado, for example. And I'm like, hey, what do you need from me? Because we can call, we can have a chat right now, whatever you need. I'm here to help. I'm not, doesn't mean I'm not right in person, doesn't mean that's a bad thing, right? But we can shop tons of lenders. The good news is though, we have a lot, probably too many, I say to people. So I try to narrow every scenario. I have about three or four that I check. Doesn't matter, right? If it's lower credit, it's higher credit, if it's a FHA, conventional, VA, investment, commercial, it doesn't matter. We have a little bit for everyone, and we have a great group at Edge on a Facebook group that's amazing. That if we have questions, I can get it answered in like 10 minutes or less. And people have like 20 different solutions. Hey, check out that lender, check out that lender. So for me, it's like, yes, it's shopping rates for people, but it's really to try to find the best solution, the best service too,
Yeah.
because some lenders have really great rates, and I'm not going to lie to you, they're awful. So like we won't even use them. Like I'll be like, yeah, the rate might be spectacular, but this process is going to be terrible. So like I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, the rate might be a little bit more, but the process is going to be smooth and easy. And that's always my goal. I don't want to force people into a situation that's not fun. So,
Yes, let's talk about process because it's very important. I mean, um, sometimes you pay for what you get what you pay, and people. So let's talk about this. Like 1%. I have not seen 2% drop in rates for 2 years now. So let's say 1% drop in rates. Why buyers? I talk to my buyers myself. Why are you fixated on this 1%? How much difference in monthly payments over 30-year period it's gonna give you if you are doing such a big investment right now. And right now it's a very hefty investment to buy a house. If you already squeezing yourself this way, maybe you should look at the purchase price more than you looking at the 1% interest rate. Talk to me.
correct. Yeah, I mean, obviously, for a good rule of thumb, for example, like a refinance, we try to tell people, 0.75 to 1% less is good, right? It's a good chunk of change that if you have a bad, you've gotten a rate in the last 2 years, you're like, let's see where you're at, right? Because if you can get a 1% decrease in your mortgage rate, that's awesome. To wait for it in the future is not necessarily the best move because let's be real, right? If that happens, and I know housing prices are going to go even higher, right? The competition is going to be more fierce. So now people might be paying even more, or it might be a little less, right? Let's not lie about it. Like it's a mortgage reduction in all facets is huge for people. If you drop a percent, if he drops half a percent, you're opening the door for more borrowers, a lot more that
Yes.
maybe couldn't afford it before. But to time it, to hope for it, to just guess it like it's going to happen, you know, most people that I deal with, they know the rate is the rate. They know I'm going to take care of them. It's going to be the best that they could possibly get. There's no craziness happening. This is it, right? Hey, this is your rate. Here's what the cost is going to be for it. But you're not going to keep that rate for 30 years. If you are, something is wrong. Like if
I
you're
know.
keeping that, if you're keeping a 7% or a 6.5, even a 6, you're out of your mind. You're not going to have that for 30 years. Can you physically and financially afford that mortgage payment? Yes or no? I tell people that
No.
all the time. You
And
don't.
yes, and let's be realistic. Let's say you're not keeping 30 years, but you're not also not buying 3, 4, 5 years. What's going to happen with inflation? There is no magic wand. But house prices will not come down. I'm a GC, yeah. I'm building home right now.
Yeah,
How, if anybody tells me that prices will come down, I will argue very heavily because labor and materials are not coming down. It's a inflation's happening. Prices on everything go up. So why housing gonna come down? It's not realistic. So
it's
like you
not.
said, what is better, to have extra 1% on mortgage or have a very overpriced house in 5 years and 1% lower in a mortgage?
Correct. Like I personally, like it's not, having a house, right? Especially for our renters out there, having a house is huge. It's a big, I always tell my clients, the biggest purchase you're going to make, but you're not throwing your money in the fire. If you want a house, you want equity, immediate equity too, not just like it's not going to go down, like you just said. Could it level off? Maybe, but we're in a market, we're here, in Charlotte area, this kind of, those housing prices aren't going down. There are parts of the country that they probably aren't great, right? Like there are parts of the country that those housing prices are like not spectacular. People are afraid of losing money. That's not going to happen here. Just, I mean, knock on wood, right? There's no reason for it to. So getting a house and immediately having equity. So I try to tell all my clients, like, you're going to have money. So like if this is your starter, right? Reduce the purchase price a little bit. Maybe
That's what I say.
instead of 600,000, it's 400 or 450 or whatever, and you find something
Exactly.
you love. And now, you know what? Make it your own for a couple years and you could sell it, you could rent it, you could buy something else. But real estate is something that's not going to go away. It's like as you build houses, right? It's going to help you build wealth and it's going to help
Yes,
you build for your family.
yes,
Renting is burning your money. Am I
yes.
saying that everyone can buy a house? No, I have that conversation all the time. Mark, can I want to stop renting? I want to buy a house. Okay, then I look at their finances and I look at stuff.
Not
Not
ready.
happening. And here's how we can get you there, though. There's a lot of lenders that'll be like, okay, goodbye. I don't do that. Like I take notes with clients. I tell them, here's the steps to get your credit up. Here's the
Yeah.
steps to financially, you need more money than you have in your bank account to get a house. I hate people do that all the time. I have a couple thousand. Well, that's not going to do it. Like you need to show more than that. Even if you get down payment assistance, it's not going to, you need to have something in your assets to show. No lender is going to be like, here's a loan. Not anymore. They used
Zero
to,
on your
not
bank.
anymore.
Yes,
Correct. Can't do that. So, and plus I tell people, I don't want you to be in a bad situation.
yes,
I wouldn't want to be in a bad situation. You're not ready for it yet. Let's get
yes,
you to the steps that you need to be.
yes. And also to summarize, like house prices already went up. What first-time home buyer could afford 5 years ago, they can't afford today. But there are still pretty normal, decent homes for, I don't know, like 280. You can find something to
Correct.
have your family living under your equity roof versus throwing money and rent going up in even quicker than house prices.
Yep.
So I think we need to educate our clients, yours and mine, to be realistic. And I'm
Yep.
saying this is not forever. None of the homes are forever homes. Even in my experience, I was, oh my God, this is my dream house. In 9 years, 7 to 9 years, people move.
Yep.
So I think housing market for me still looks very appealing.
It does. Well, I mean, we were just you have a house that's in Kannapolis right now that's a great value in my opinion because it's blowing up. So, there's a lot. So Charlotte's Charlotte, right? Is there a lot of houses like neat, decent houses for 250 to 300? There's
No,
some. There's not a lot, but there's some. But if you just start hitting the outskirts and going a little bit wider outward and not being super far from the major city or whatever, there's a lot of opportunity. And one of the things that I love is I have a client, first time home buyer. She bought a small place, and her goal is to maximum live there a year or two and then rent it out and move. I mean, it's the
yeah,
smartest thing she could have done because she's like, I'm going to make it look beautiful. I'm going to live in it for a year, which you have to. And then, then she's like, I'm going to see where I'm at. Maybe I have enough stuff in there, enough equity, this and that. I'm going to rent that thing for more than I'm paying my mortgage for. And I'm going to move along and go buy a different house. And that's like such a smart move. That's from a
yeah.
first time home buyer. And
Like,
it really,
look,
really smart.
I just pulled this up. This is my recent file with client, and he bought a beautiful house in Charlotte for 319.90. So, I mean, it's 2 floors, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths.
Yep.
It's a little bit older house, 1,600 square foot, plenty square footage. But, I mean, it's a house in Charlotte.
Yep.
So there are still some decent prices, and I will be happy. if future buyers will reach out and I can send them your way and you can find them a good rate and educate them
Always.
also.
Yep.
And I'm very hopeful. It's not perfect. It's not like it was 3.5%, but there is always a market and there is always possibility to do some kind of good deal. I'm sorry for this never-ending phone calls.
Always, right? I have mine and mine's over here like off. I'm gonna get out of here. And that's the thing though. People, I try to tell all my realtor partners, I say, you know me, like I'm a former educator, right? I've said that. So like education is my favorite thing to do for people and really explaining it because it's a big step. It's a big process. Whether they're a first-time home buyer or a savvy buyer, it doesn't matter, right? The market's crazy. So to understand it, to guide someone from the start to the closing table, that's my favorite thing to do. We're all in it to help each other. And that's, I say teamwork makes the dream work is one of my favorite lines because that's true. Like I want my realtor partner to be like, hey, sir, like this is Mark. He's here to help you. We're in this together. We're going to take care of you. It's not, you don't need to search 400 different places to find someone. We're here to do that and make sure that they are comfortable. They love it. They're going to find the home that they want to be in. And like you said, there's a lot of value out there and it's not going to get like worse. It's going to get better and more, the prices were probably going to go up and the equity is going to go up. So, if you can do it, do it. Take a chance. If you can't, set yourself up for the future. But waiting and waiting and waiting and timing it, it just doesn't work that way. It's not the way it works.
Exactly. That's always, and my joke, my real estate joke. Real estate like is like a stroke. You either act now and you have some to survive, or you are just past the deal.
Yep. Yep.
Can't just sit there and because in a fear waiting. And if you don't feel comfortable about your mortgage payments 1% up or 1% down, you will not feel comfortable either way. So
No.
maybe you will reconsider. Maybe you need to add second household income. Only
Hmm.
one person working in a family can't afford anymore.
It's hard. Yep. 100%. It's
And
very
maybe
difficult.
have an increase in your job or something, because you can do that in a couple of months and still be on a track, and people want it now. I seen a house on a Zillow and let's do it. No, get your plan in order. So that's why you can talk to me, to Mark, and have a plan, and then we
Yep.
go and work for you.
Yeah, that's I mean, I have so many realtors that say that too. I'm like, don't entertain the idea of someone being like, hey, I want to go look at this. Do you have a pre-approval letter? Have you been vetted? Do you know what's going to happen? And if it's a no, then what are we doing? You can't, they can't just say like, oh, we're good. Maybe you are, but until someone looks at it, such as myself, and I have, and like when I tell people, some people will skirt the pre-approvals. Oh yeah, you're good. I'll give you a pre-approval. I'm like, Like
Oh,
I'm OCD. Like if I'm gonna put my name on a paper and I stamp it, it better be 100% good because I'm not
yes,
gonna lie about it. I have a whole system that I do. I have 2 pages. I send the pre-approval, and then the second page is a little bit about me and my industry and who we are as an edge and myself as a mortgage broker and a family person because I want the listing agent to see it's not just a pre-approval. There's a whole list of stuff. This is who I am, and you can
yes,
call me, message me, whatever. Every listing agent I've ever worked with has always said they appreciated how much I was on top
yes,
of it, invested, because a lot of people are in it to make a dollar, in it to make money. And in this industry right now, it's tough. It is a tough, tough industry, as you know. So we're here to help people because referrals and relationships are massive. It's the only thing
yes,
that keeps us going. So, that to me it's important to me. If I ever had a bad client, which I never have, knock on wood, where someone says like, Mark, you're terrible, I would be sad. I want to know why, right? I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to make sure it works for them. And that's the key. So if they can do it, great. If they can't, make a plan.
yes, I agree with you. So we're here to help you. Next time you need pre-approval, or just talk to us about what
Correct.
your plan is. No obligation. We can discuss your plan, and we will be happy to help.
Absolutely. Always here to help. You know that. And anyone that sees this, know that 100%. We're here to truly make sure that you get the house that you want, or investment property, whatever you're trying to do. We're here to help. So
Yes, it was nice chatting with you. Thank you so
thank
much.
you. You too. Bye.